Brett Selestay, better known by his MC alias Bo Jankans, has done far more than Bojangle his music career away. In less than 10 years of recording his first rhyme, the Herndon, Virginia native has accomplished more than the average underground MC to touch the mic.
Since the first day I was plagued right, cause my mommy never really taught me how to play nice.
Armed with a genuine love for music and a sense of humor, this MC brings a breath of fresh air to the world of hip-hop. At the young age of 23, Jankans has performed at the annual indie music festival, the Warped Tour. He has released 2 studio albums and has been featured on countless mixtapes and compilation projects all over the world. Recently, we had the opportunity to speak with Jankans about a few topics, including the most meaningful song he's recorded, the greatest lesson he's learned as an artist so far, and why he thinks hip-hop is better now than it has been for a while. So sit back and hear Jankans' story unfold with Cheap Sushi.
The bullshit from the hands that I've been granted, I manned it, made it straight, landed in the face of those who told me that my place in this game was rather candid. I hardly ever listen to the blabber back from cats who act as if they have something I lack. In fact, I brushed it off and laughed. I grasp the actuality beyond the rate of hourly. My words will take you out of the atmosphere that they drown in.
So first of all, thank you so much for speaking with us. It's really awesome.
Oh, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay, so one of the first things I noticed about you was your name. Tell us a little bit about the name Bo Jankans and where it came from.
The name Bo Jankans was given to me by a fellow musician I worked with very heavily when I was about 17 and 18 and 19. And we were in the studio, and he had asked me if I could prepare some extracurricular activities, if you will. And he went into the vocal booth to do his verse. I had already finished mine. He was like, I'm going to go lay this verse. When I come back down, we'll step outside. And I was like, yeah, no problem. Of course, I'll get it going. He came back out about 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, and he said, you ready to roll? And during that time, I had actually sat down on a couch and just began talking to another guy in the studio named Mike. And we got to talking, and before I knew it, I hadn't done anything that he had asked me to do. He said, "Oh man," he came. I said, "Oh man, what are you bojangling for? What are you taking? I'm gonna start calling you Bo Jankans because you bojangle all the time." And it happens to be very accurate. It happens to be a very accurate label to put on me in both my musical and personal life, for that matter. Because and most of the people who know me can tell you I'm rarely on time. If I tell you 30 minutes, it's probably going to be more like 50. And I don't know why I can't seem to get that right, but just something about me, I suppose. So that's where the name Bo Jankans came from.
So I discovered that when you were younger, you and sometimes 15 to 20 other artists from your area would meet at your manager's studio for what you guys called Thursday night sessions. And for those who are listening, Thursday night sessions was a weekly event where Jankans, along with whoever else wanted to show up, would work on a beat from his manager, who was also known as Bones. So now with all of that said, do you still keep up with that weekly event?
No, we actually don't still regularly have Thursday night sessions. The Thursday night sessions were a moment in time that me and Sleepy Hollows and a bunch of these other local rappers just had schedules that worked. We all had Thursday evening off. We all had schedules that were conducive to that session, and it did become something, man. It became something really cool. It became something, beyond the music. I made a lot of my best friendships with some of the people that I still work with today, during those sessions. And, the most powerful studio session I've ever been a part of was during a Thursday night session. You could see the music in the air. You could physically see it. You could feel it. It formed around us. It was crazy. But we don't still do them. A lot of us, have just, our schedules just don't mesh the way they did at that point in time. So-and-so works here and so-and-so works here, and now he lives out here in Fairfax and he lives over, so it's just not the same as it was. But those were some crazy, crazy times. And maybe, we still throw one in every now and then, but they're just not the Thursday night sessions that they were at that point in time.
All right. So now let's switch it up just a little bit. What is the most meaningful song that you've created so far?
The most meaningful song I've created thus far, that's a pretty powerful question. I would probably have to say the song Firewater or Dumb Looks Are Still Free, both off of the record Dumb Looks Are Still Free. Firewater because it was very personal to me. A lot of people always ask, what got you into hip-hop? Why did you choose rap? Or whatever. And that song is me talking to hip-hop as if it was a girl or a person or something that could, just a being that could respond. Because I got to thinking one day when I was writing, and I said, I love hip-hop. I love it so much, but not everything you love loves you. And if hip-hop was a person or a girl, would she love me? Would I be her type? Would she like a tough guy? Would she like a funny guy that could make her laugh? Would she like me? And so I started to write this idea around, she loves me, she loves me not. And she's very fickle about her feelings with me, and no matter what, though, I'm always going to stay true to her, and that kind of thing. And it's definitely a pretty accurate interpretation of my feelings towards music and hip-hop in general, and so that's definitely a very important song to me. Dumb Looks Are Still Free is just, I'd say it's equally as important because it helps shape another side of me in music. What I mean by that is a lot of artists and musicians I feel like are one-sided, or they can only be tough, or they can only, make joke songs, or they can only, do this or that. I feel like Dumb Looks Are Still Free, specifically with the video attached to it, allows us to, have a funny side and kind of pick on ourselves a little bit, as well as have, these deeper songs like Firewater that are really lyrically intricate and really passionate and heartfelt. And then there's other ones that are just kind of fun and dumb, and I dig that, and I kind of didn't realize that that's what was happening until it actually happened. But yeah, it's a very important song to me.
All right. So I read that you were part of the Warped Tour back in 2007. How did that go for you, and would you do it again?
Yeah, we were a part of the Warped Tour in 2007, and it was incredible, man. I had only been seriously making music for about 18 to 20 months at that point, in real studios, releasing records, blah, 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 doing shows. Before that, it was just kind of a thing I did as more of a hobby. And so the Warped Tour came upon us very fast. It's usually not something that an underground independent hip-hop artist should be a part of in the first year and a half of his career, but we were fortunate enough to do it, and it was great, man. It was really cool. We got felt by a lot of kids, and it's a great environment for an artist such as myself, because there's so many kids out there, and they're there specifically to find new things to distract them with, and that being music and new bands and groups and rappers and DJs and all sorts of stuff. They're there for that. They're looking for you. It's not like you're going to a club and someone happens to be there and says, "Hey, this guy's good." They're there, and they want to find you. So it's a fun atmosphere, man. I've never been a part of something that big. We played Merriweather Post Pavilion. It's the biggest venue I've played to date, and it was a high in itself, man. It was definitely a high in itself, and I would most certainly do it again if we got the opportunity, and hopefully this year we're gonna put a big push into trying to get involved with that again, and reach out to some of our contacts that we have and see if we can't make that happen. So, yeah.
So I found out that you're really into oldies, including 50s doo-wop and 60s Motown. How did you eventually discover hip-hop, and what made you more comfortable expressing yourself through hip-hop?
Yeah, I love 50s doo-wop and 60s Motown. It's still arguably my favorite music, out there. I love Smokey Robinson and the Miracles and Marvin Gaye and, Levi Stubbs and the Four Tops, the Dells, and all sorts of stuff like that. I discovered hip-hop from my best friend's sister. She put me on to a few underground artists, Master Ace, Atmosphere, ID and Abilities, guys like that, when I was like 15 and 16 years old. And I don't know, man, I crossed the line with hip-hop. It touched me in a way that I'd never been really touched by music that personally. And I just never went back, man. I mean, I still listen to everything, I still listen to rock. I'm still just as influenced by Bob Dylan and Jim Morrison as I am Sean Daly and Big L. But I don't know, it would make me feel more comfortable expressing myself through emceeing. I suppose I like to write. I love to write. I love wordplay and puns and just, similes and metaphors, and being able to take something and turn it into something else, or and using your words for that. And I've always kind of been a wordsmith, even in school, and so I can't do math to save my life, but I'll write the shit out of a paper, so I suppose the writing part of it, man. I mean, not to say that other music is not as lyrically intricate as hip-hop, but there's a certain play on words thing that's there with hip-hop, I feel, more so than other genres. And I don't know, man, it was the easiest way for me to get my words out, my thoughts out.
Zero to hero in an hour less. By the hourglass in the glass house, powerless. Doubt, I guess, keeps the face looking sour. Listen out of this, I'm probably only getting what I found in it. I'm surrounded by the soul of those true. Hanging off from a ledge, I'm getting awfully close to. Hope you get the picture that my words is bringing with them. Underlined by surprise and a little bit of rhythm. But it's still bleeding if you fall and get a little cut. It's still cheating even if you